sighting and then a formation lap. Your starting order for the first race of the weekend is as follows. Senior Rotax, Groups A and B, Heat 1. It will be Lewis Gilbert and Sean Butcher making it an all-British front row, ahead of Iljan Brunsils and Dave Blom in the 370. Mike van Vugt makes his Senior Rotax debut in the number 376 alongside the Czech Republic's Teresa Babikova. Vincent France in the 360 from Germany and the 344 of Belgium's Milan Koppens will round out the top 4 rows, and completing the top 10, it's Andreas Hebert from France, Lars Zeynen from Belgium, followed by Spain's Manel Galofretona, Fabian Bock, Anthony Boulou, Ben Burgess, Alexander Bentley, Arthur Horsch, Zem Van Til, Robin Knutsson, Flint Schuring and Amandine Travadon rounding out the top 20. And the 3 at the back of the field are as follows. Jordi van der Eyck in the 390, Clementine Benoit in the 377 and Drake Janssen in the 342. 9 minutes set on the timer plus an additional lap. And this is where the action gets really, really heated as they now head towards turn 7. So it will be down to Lewis Gilbert and Sean Butcher on the front row of the grid to control proceedings, as they will go into the tram lines off of turn 12 for the first of 16 races this afternoon. The BNL Karting Series in its 13th season is ready to get back underway underneath this fantastic Saturday afternoon Belgian sunshine, as they now head into the right-hander at turn 10 into 2x2 formation. There will be a keen eye kept on the tram lines, and penalties will be issued if the drivers do circumvent the rolling start procedure. Hold on to your hats. This is going to start off the first day of competition in true style. So Gilbert, Butcher, Brunsils, Blom, Van Vugt, Babikova, France, Koppens, Hebert and Zeynen. That is your top 10. The red lights are ignited on the starting gantry. We go into the tram lines. It's a clean start and the Rotax roar returns to Karting Genk. And Sean Butcher going around the outside of Lewis Gilbert heading into turn 2 for the first time. They can use the runoff area as it is an absolute swarm of senior Rotaxes, as it's nearly 4 abreast going through turn 3 for the first time. But Lewis Gilbert looks to have got the initial getaway, and he's got about 3 kart lengths up ahead of Sean Butcher. Looks like Iljan Brunsils sticking in third position in the minute as they head down the back straightaway. Everyone's still running at the moment as they go into turn 7 for the first time. And it is pretty much 2 abreast at the back part of the field all the way down to 23rd position. So Gilbert is now trying to get away from the likes of Brunsils, Butcher and everyone else behind. As now we come to complete lap number 1 here at Karting Genk in the first Senior Rotax heat of the day, first of 6, as Gilbert gets the head down going across the line, and he has over 0.3 of a second advantage over Sean Butcher. And at the moment, Zeynen, Koppens, Burgess have all made up places. Arthur Horsch up into 14th ahead of Anthony Boulou, as there's been a change and Brunsils has got past Butcher for P2. And at the moment, Van Vugt is trying to go toe-to-toe with Dave Blom. This is going to be a stern test for the youngster from Vauxhall in the Netherlands, as he's switched teams for this season, having decided to curtail his initially intended rallycross program for 2020. But Lewis Gilbert, the dual ride diamond, now pulling away, and that is a considerable gap. I count at least nearly 6 to 8 kart lengths between him and Sean Butcher. But Iljan Brunsils definitely looking very, very racy, and Van Vugt now up into P4 in the 376. So he's got past Dave Blom, and now we'll start charging towards the 3 in front. And the top 4 separated by just under 0.7. So the top 5 really starting to make a breakaway, as between Dave Blom and Teresa Babikova, 5th and 6th position, they are separated by just over a second. And now 6 minutes and 51 seconds plus an additional lap. There is one driver at the back of the field, and unfortunately that looks to be the 323. And that is Flint Schuring, who started in 19th position down to the to 23rd place and looking a bit forlorn at the back end of the field. But Butcher has closed up on Gilbert for second position. In the meantime, Mike Van Vugt is absolutely flying at the moment He's now up into P3, having got past Ilian Brunstil's for a position. So the top two starting to break away, but Van Vrucht will start to try and close on Gilbert and Butcher. Gap between them was about 0.3 of a second last time around, and it's now under 2.5 tenths. 0.235 between Gilbert and Butcher for the lead of the race, as there's a great move up the inside, and they're swarming all over each other up into, now that is the battle for that's sixth position. So Milan Coppens, I think, has made up a place in the process. But everyone still, out of the 23 strong, are running at the minute. And now, you can see from what is sixth positions, that's Babikova, Coppens and Vincent France, as there's a nice move up the inside into turn 7, a little bit further down the order. But Lewis Gilbert still commanding proceedings. The gap between him and Sean Butcher was around just under 2.5 tenths of a second, as they now flood their way into turn 10 once again. But the fastest lap of the race is in the hands of Sean Butcher, who is losing a bit of ground to Lewis Gilbert at the moment, as they all flood their way through turn 12, the right-hander that goes onto the main start-finish straight. So Gilbert now will have a lead of over 4.5 tenths of a second over Sean Butcher. Van Vrucht trying to fend off Brunsils for P3. Dave Blom just waiting in the wings, as there's an almighty scrap between Vincent France, who I think has just got past Teresa Babikova, I think. But I will just wait for the timing screens to confirm that very, very shortly. So at the moment, the running order is as thus. Lewis Gilbert leads, Sean Butcher in second, Mike Van Vrucht in third, Ilian Brunsils, Dave Blom, Milan Coppens, Teresa Babikova, Vincent France, Andres Hebert, Ben Burgess rounding out the top 10, all covered by about 3.8 seconds. As now, coming down towards turn 10 and through into the left at 11. So Gilbert leads, has a gap over him, over Butcher. Van Vrucht still rounding out the top 3, but is being handed by Ilian Brunsils. Dave Blom rounds out the top 5. So looks like all 23 drivers are now actually circulating. We've got 4 minutes and 15 plus an additional lap left to go. And now Brunsils looks to have the bullseye set on the back bumper, as we do have one retiree. And that is unfortunately the 397 of Lars Zanen, just on the outside, the exit of turn 3, which goes into the triple left-hander at 3, 4 and 5. So pretty much even Stevens as the entire field as they go through into turn 7. Some more changes for position. We've had Anthony Boulou up into P12. Vincent France past Teresa Babikova for P7. Amandine Travadon, Clementine Benoit, Drake Janssen, Arthur Horsch and Flint Schuring round out the 23 that are still running, with unfortunately Lars Zanen's race coming to an abrupt end on lap number 5. As we come to start, we complete lap number 6 here. So Gilbert still leads, the gap now down to just under 3 tenths of a second. Mike Van Vrucht is now about a further 8 tenths of a second adrift, but is having to try and keep Ilian Brunsils at bay. 3 minutes and 13 to go. So Gilbert got the initial advantage through the start phase. Looks fairly clean, so the race director let it go. A couple of other positional changes. Andres Hebert and Manel Gallofre-Torna from France and Spain respectively have now gone up into 8th and 9th ahead of Ben Burgess from Great Britain. 2 leaders now really starting to pull away, and I'm looking at the lap times of the top 3. The best lap time of Lewis Gilbert was set last time around a 55.158, but Sean Butcher has put in the fastest lap of the race, a 55.015 on lap number 6. 2.5 minutes to go, as everyone trying to get their head down, as that is a great move up the inside into turns 1 and 2. And I think that might have been that Vincent France was up a further position, but in many respects a lot of drivers still trying to there are battles up and down the order here, but Lewis Gilbert still streaking away from Sean Butcher, as Mike Van Vrucht keeps P3, Ilian Brunsils P4. So it started to get into a sort of a more spread out affair, rather than being concertina like I've seen previously in senior Rotax encounters. So the leaders now are making their way through. So Gilbert and Butcher locked in battle over P1. As a little bit further back down the order, I've just picked up the 343 of Ben Burgess, who's battling away with Anthony Boulou for P10. Vincent France has got past Dave Blom for P5. 90 seconds on the clock, or just under, plus an additional lap remaining. Gilbert still has a healthy lead of around 0.4 of a second, but we have seen it before where the driver behind gets the second wind in their sails and then will start catching. And in terms of lap times, Gilbert was over 1/10 of a second quicker than Butcher on that particular lap alone, as the field still keeps on making its way around the 1,360 metre circuit. And now the gap between Sean Butcher and Mike Van Vugt is over 1.1 seconds, as unfortunately we've had Teresa Babikova from the Czech Republic retire on lap number 6 of this race. So it looks like there might have been technical dramas for both her and Lars Zanen, as we're into the last 45 seconds. So next time around will be the final lap for Lewis Gilbert, as he now powers away. The gap now just over 0.5 of a second between first and second position here in the first of 6 senior Rotax heats here at the home of champions karting Genk. Mike Van Vugt doing a steady job in third position and has managed to break away from Ilian Brunsils, who's got Vincent France trying to close him down at the moment. And if I look at the times, last time around it was a 55.221 from Brunsils and a 54.876 by Vincent France, which also gives the German driver the fastest lap of the race. Good to see Colin Kerzani racing, a former JJ Racing alumni, and has also been in the BNL karting series in previous years. So this is the penultimate lap of the race, as Lewis Gilbert will now come through turn 11 into the right-hand sweeper that opens up through turn 12 ahead of Sean Butcher. And the gap last time around was half a second. The final lap board has been shown to the dual ride diamond from Ayrshire. And he now goes into turns 2 and 3. So into the left at 3 and then into the double left at 4 and 5. As now I'm just keeping an eye behind Mike Van Vugt, because Vincent France is absolutely nailing it at the moment. He's just done another sub 55 second lap of 54.958, and he's right on the tail of Brunsils, who looks to the left, looks to the right. France towards the inside, on through to turn 7, and the German driver gets through, but Brunsils tries to recounter in that respect and goes side by side with the German driver through turn 7 and into turn 8, but France has made the move stick. So now we come down towards the final couple of corners. The checkered flag is being prepared and kicking off his day in style. The 3:29 of Lewis Gilbert from Potenza Racing Engines takes the checkered flag ahead of Sean Butcher by just over 0.6 of a second. A great sterling effort by Mike Van Vugt, who now has been promoted to senior Rotax for this season, ahead of Vincent France, with Ilian Brunsils rounding out the top 5. Milan Koppens takes P6 ahead of Dave Blom, with Andreas Herbert, Manel Galofretona and France's Anthony Boulou in the 385 rounding out the top 10. So it's a win in the books for Lewis Gilbert after a lights out to checkered flag run. So the Potenza Racing Engines driver doing a sterling job, taking the top time in timed qualifying through the lottery arranged 2 groups. And after aggregate qualifying, he was put on pole. So Lewis Gilbert takes it by 0.611 of a second ahead of Sean Butcher, Mike Van Vugt, Vincent France, Ilian Brunsils, Milan Koppens, Dave Blom, Andreas Herbert, Manel Galofretona and Anthony Boulou rounding out the top 10. Then it's Alexander Bentley, Ben Burgess, Fabian Bock, Jordi van der Eyck, Robin Knutsson, Sem van Til, Clementine Benoit, Amadine Travadon ahead of Drake Janssen, Flint Schuring, with Arthur Hosch being the last of the 21 drivers that made it to the checkered flag, with both Teresa Babikova and Lars Zanen not finishing the race.